Hey guys, the video's about to start, but I wanted to let y'all know if you have any other questions for me that I don't answer in this video. I just created a CAMEO account which allows me to send you personalized video messages where I can answer all your vinyl record questions, give you advice, even wish you a happy birthday, and a lot more. So download the CAMEO app on your smartphone, search for Eyezz, and book me today so I can give you a personal shout out. The link is in the video description down below. Alright, now today I'm finally going to be answering all your great questions that you guys sent me a few weeks ago. Stay tuned. Hey friends, welcome back to Eyezz. I am Jarrett New, and sorry it's taken me a lot longer than I thought, but today I'm finally going to be answering your great questions about vinyl audio setups, record players, and pretty much all this good stuff. So hopefully I can make this whole vinyl hobby a little less confusing for you. Now, if you're building your own record player setup and you need help deciding on what gear you should get, the link to my Amazon influencer page is going to be in the video description down below. There you're going to find all of my recommended turntables, preamps, receivers, speakers, headphones, great albums, and a lot of other accessories that I'll be mentioning in this video, so be sure to check that out as well. Now real quick, today's song of the day is Zombie by the Cranberries. Really great song. If you haven't heard it, you definitely should. And if you have a suggestion for a song of the day, post it in the comments down below and you might see it in a future video. Alright, let's talk vinyl. Do you have an opinion on whether original pressings sound better than reissues? I have Dire Straits' debut album from both 1978 and the 2014 reissue, and I can't tell them apart other than the thickness of the vinyl. People online go back and forth on this, and here's what it boils down to. If the record's in good condition, an original pressing will sound good. However, it's going to be more expensive, and the vinyl is usually going to be thinner and more prone to warps. Now, if you get a repressing that was made like last month, it's going to be thicker and heavier, like 180 gram vinyl or 200 gram vinyl. It's going to be cheaper, so around 20-25 bucks, but it could also be remastered from digital sources, so it might not sound as good. So overall, a repressing can really be a toss-up as far as quality. But one company that I trust for excellent repressings every single time is Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. They're awesome. Is it safe to eat vinyl? I wouldn't recommend it. What is the best and most affordable record player for people that have recently started collecting vinyl? I would say the Audio-Technica LP60 or the new LP60X. They're both $100, they both have a built-in preamp, and they both spin at 33 and 45 RPM, so you can play all of the 12-inch albums and the 7-inch singles. Hey Jarrett, I'm thinking about purchasing an Audio-Technica LP120, and I was wondering what are some good speakers for that specific turntable that are under $200? I would say the Mica PB42X speakers. You can hook them right up to the turntable, they have the amplifier built inside, and they're only $100, so you can save that extra $100 and buy some really great records. Is the Audio-Technica LP60X a good first buy? Definitely. As I just said, it's about the same price as the classic LP60, but with a slightly better tone arm, a finger lift, a removable power cord, a removable RCA cable, and overall a more modern looking design. So it's a great turntable to get started with. If I relocate my record player to a new location, do I need to recalibrate it? Is there any danger even if I treat it carefully? No, you don't need to recalibrate anything, so don't worry about that. Just make sure the turntable is level, it's on a nice level surface, and you're good to go. Should I use outer sleeves? Definitely. Outer sleeves are going to prevent your record jackets from getting all scratched up and looking ugly over time. And like I said, if you want some good ones, my Amazon link is down below. Hey, I'm 14 and my friends make fun of me for listening to vinyl. What should I tell them? You tell them that you actually want to own the music instead of just renting it. Hey man, you may have covered this in a past video, but can you store LPs leaning against each other without the risk of any warps? Do you have any tips for storing them in general? Yeah, you always want to make sure your records are standing straight up so that they don't warp. And also try not to have too many of them leaning up against each other for that exact same warping reason. Also, in general, keep all of your records away from sunlight, heat, and humidity, and you'll be just fine. About how many records do you have? I have about 300 to 350 last I checked. How would you go about cleaning a dirty record? I like to keep it pretty simple, so I just use the RCA disc washer brush and solution, but maybe one of these days I'll get real fancy and invest in a record cleaning machine. That'd be cool. Where should I look for some great deals? If you're looking for something specific, go online to either Amazon, eBay, or Discogs and wait till they have a really good sale, like Black Friday. But if you're not looking for anything in particular, head over to your local record shop and crate dig through those bargain bins. You can find a lot of good stuff in there. What company pressing records do you recommend? Like Columbia, Music on Vinyl, Sony Music, etc. Definitely Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, Music on Vinyl, and my most recent favorite, Mondo Death Waltz. Those are all great labels. What was your first record and your first turntable? Sade Love Deluxe and the Audio Technica LP120. Why do I need a preamp? You need one because it's part of the vinyl audio setup, so that consists of 4 things: turntable, preamplifier, amplifier, and speakers. And that's how this whole vinyl record system works. If you remove the preamp, the signal is not going to be strong enough, and the sound is going to be very, very quiet. I know this is a dumb question, but can you fix scratched records? Unfortunately, you can't. If it's dirty, you can clean it. If the jacket's damaged, you can repair it. But if the disc itself is scratched, it's scratched forever. Can you play a 180 gram record on an LP60 or any simple turntable? Yeah, you totally can. No problem. Do you own any glow-in-the-dark records? I don't actually, but from what I've heard, the sound quality of a glow-in-the-dark record is not really that good. What would you recommend for a portable turntable? I know Crosley's are off the table, but I want to be able to take records to friends' houses and take some vinyl with me on long vacations and such. In my opinion, turntables aren't meant to be portable, and the ones that are usually poor quality. So I would encourage your friend to get a turntable, and then all you gotta do is bring the records. How did you become such a big Tool fan? To be honest, I don't really remember. I think a friend of mine burned me one of their albums on CD a long time ago, and I've just been hooked ever since. What are the best outer sleeves to get? I usually go with the 100 pack of polyethylene outer sleeves from Square Deal Recordings and Supplies on Amazon. I really like them, they're simple, and they work. And like I said, link down below. Where can I get good quality used vinyl records online that is not Discogs? Definitely eBay, and before you buy, make sure the seller you're buying from has good reviews. About how many cassettes do you own? I just counted them, and I've got 88. Do you like the Stone Roses? And is the Audio Technica LP120 good? If it is, any recommendations for upgrades? Dude, I hadn't heard of them, but I just listened to their song, I Wanna Be Adored, and it's such a great track. It's like stuck in my head now, so thank you so much for the recommendation. Now, as far as the LP120 is concerned, yes, it's a great turntable to get started with, and you can upgrade the felt mat to a cork mat. You can upgrade the cartridge to the Ortofon 2M Red, that's a good upgrade, or the 2M Blue. Pretty much anything by Ortofon is good. And then you can even get a heavier counterweight, which is what I did with mine. So you've got a ton of options. What about the Onzo Zero Dust? Can you say if it's worth it? Definitely. After using this little thing for a couple of months, I would not clean my stylus with anything else. This thing picks up dust like a freaking magnet. What is a great beginner's tape deck? I really like my Sony KA1ES, so I would actually recommend anything by Sony for your first cassette deck. And you can find some really great ones on eBay. That's where I picked this one up for about 200 bucks. What are your top 5 favorite bands? Right now, Khruangbin, Sade, Kem, Jose Gonzalez, Kings of Convenience, and Tulle. Okay, that's 6, but it's hard to narrow it down. Hey man, love the channel, keep it up. Question, how do I choose a good slip pad? You gotta try each one out and then decide which one of them sounds better to you. I tried the felt mat first, and then I moved on to a deer hide leather mat, and finally, cork. I prefer cork because the bass is just much cleaner to my ears, but if you have an acrylic platter like this one, you don't even need a mat at all. So that's kind of cool. Hey Jarrett, I'm sure you've gone over this before, but static guns like the Zerostat 3, do you love them, hate them, recommend them? Any cheaper alternatives? Thanks, love your videos. I actually would recommend the Milty Zerostat 3, but you gotta know how to use this thing properly or else it's not even gonna work. So you gotta hold it about a foot above the turntable and squeeze this trigger really slowly. If it's making any clicking noises, then you're doing it too fast. So basically you gotta do that a couple of times in maybe like 3 different spots over the record, and then you should notice a lot less clicks and pops during playback. Do you own any Vaporwave on vinyl? Man, I wish. That would be really cool. Unfortunately, I don't, but I do have these synthwave albums, CAMEO Cruise, Midnight Maimer by Clusterbuster, Dangerous Days by Perturbator, and the Kung Fury soundtrack on red vinyl, which is really awesome. New Tulle album coming in August. I know, dude, I am so excited to hear what they've finally come up with. It has been a while. What are your thoughts on Bluetooth speakers versus wired speakers as far as sound quality? I'm leaning toward the Bluetooth because they are less messy. Thanks, love the content. Both types of speakers are good in their own way, but for vinyl listening, I prefer physically wired speakers. The sound is just warmer to my ears. But here's what you could do. Get a receiver with Bluetooth already built inside, like the Yamaha RS202, and then hook it up with some passive speakers like the Mica MB42s. That way you can play music from your records and your phone. So you got options. Is there any way to get rid of pops or crackles on records? A lot of pops and crackles could be due to static on the surface of the record. So first of all, give them a nice cleaning, and then use this Milty Zero Stat 3, and then finally use an anti-static brush, and that should remove most of the pops and crackles. If it's still crackling after that, it's probably due to scratches. How did you first start collecting vinyl? Did you start off with CDs, tapes, or vinyl? I first started off with CDs and, unfortunately, MP3s, and then I discovered vinyl records and cassettes later on. What are your thoughts about companies that let the public have their own songs or mixtapes on vinyl, like Meep Records, Vinylify, American Vinyl Company, etc.? I think those services are really cool, and I would love to have my own record someday. I just don't know what I'd put on it. Favorite apps or websites for buying vinyl new and used? Amazon, eBay, mondotees.com, and Discogs. Jarrett, are you going to be buying some Sting and the Police vinyl records? Yeah, I should definitely get some Sting and the Police on vinyl. I don't have any in my collection currently, but that's good music. Do you like Rammstein? Yes, I do. I have their album Rosenrot on CD, but nothing on vinyl yet. What kind of table do you place your turntable, amp, and speakers on? I actually have all of this behind me sitting on a large dresser, and it's got 6 drawers, so that's basically where I keep all of the accessories, and I have a ton of random cables. Vinylize, do you have high expectations for the new Tulle album? Yes or no? Oh yes, sky-high expectations. They've kept us waiting long enough. I'm so happy that you're doing this again. I was around the first time as well. Okay, here's my question. If you buy a used vinyl record, will it ruin your needle? Not if it's clean and not scratched up. Like I said, clean all records before you play them on your turntable, and don't buy records if they're all scratched up, because they are going to ruin your stylus. What causes the record to crackle and pop while playing? The record plays through, sounds good otherwise, and it's been cleaned several times. You know, when you play vinyl records, you're always going to have a little bit of surface noise, but that's just part of the format, so there's nothing to worry about. Thank you for showing me the amazing music of Agnes Obel. What do you think about Angel Olsen? I had heard her name before, but I hadn't listened to any of her music until right this moment. So I just heard her song Sister, and I thought it was very unique, heartfelt, and genuine. And it was a nice blend of like folk and rock, so I really liked it. Is there any application that is free to use to catalog my records from label to picture, and more importantly, genre? Discogs is going to be your best bet. It's free and you can catalog your entire record collection. Also, I've heard good things about an app called Milk Crate, but I haven't used it personally. What is your favorite secret you found on a record? My Parlor Trick record has 2 really cool hidden messages carved into the dead wax of the vinyl. So on one side it says, "She's in the walls," and the other side says, "Keep the channel open." Pretty spooky. Are vintage turntables safe and good to use? I mean the turntables from the 70s with the built-in 8-tracks or cassette deck inside it? I would recommend avoiding the all-in-one type turntables, whether modern or vintage. But if you do come across one on eBay that's been refurbished and it's in good condition, you might only have to replace the needle to get it running again. Also, check the tracking force with one of these digital gram scales to make sure it's not putting too much weight on the record grooves. Did you move already? Yeah, I live in Arizona now. The background pretty much looks the same. I literally just heard a way to deep clean your vinyl is to cover the vinyl with wood glue, wait for it to set, and peel it off. Sounds crazy, so can you confirm anything on this strange behavior? Don't do it. If you're obsessed with getting your vinyl as clean as humanly possible, just get a record cleaning machine. Don't risk damaging your vinyl. Is a soundbar good for listening to records? If you want good quality, I would recommend not going with a soundbar. Traditional bookshelf speakers like the one behind me are going to give you a much wider overall soundstage and better bass, which is important, so I would recommend sticking with bookshelf speakers. Jarrett, are you going to buy any record from Tears for Fears? Shout out from Brazil. The only song I've heard from Tears for Fears so far has been Head Over Heels, which was famously featured in that movie Donnie Darko a long time ago, and I liked it. It's a good song, so I definitely want to hear more from them. Now that National Audio Company has discontinued all their blank Type 2 cassettes, where do you buy yours from? Or have you switched over to Type 1? I actually still have a lot of their blank Type 2 chrome tapes left, and I just recently bought some older Type 4 metal tapes, which are still sealed. So I'm good on mixtapes for a while, but I really hope that they start making chrome and metal tapes again. That would be nice. What kind of speakers do you have for your record player? I have the Klipsch RP150Ms, and I absolutely love them. Can you give a shout out to my grunge band, 42 Odd Bears? Of course, dude. Hey, this is Vinylize here, and I want to give a huge shout out to 42 Odd Bears. Keep making awesome grunge music. What audio brands like Sony, TIAC, Philips, JVC, Akai, and Iowa would you consider quality built and quality sound? Nice videos, by the way. The brands that I really trust are Audio-Technica, Sony, Klipsch, Pioneer, and if you can afford them, VPI and Nakamichi. Those are all excellent. Hey, any idea which products I can use to clean the Tonearm? I'm using an 80s Pioneer turntable which has some dirty spots. You can actually just dip a cotton swab in 91% isopropyl alcohol and then just rub that on the Tonearm, and that should remove those spots. Favorite decade of music? Also, are you a cat or a dog person? Probably the 70s and 80s. And I'm definitely a dog person. I mean, don't get me wrong, cats are cute, but I love my dog. What budget do I need to have a good setup? Turntable, amp, speakers, etc. Well, my first setup was the LP120, which was $250, a topping TP21 headphone amplifier, which was about $40, and the Mica MB42X speakers, which were $70. So to only play records, a decent setup will cost you anywhere from $350 to $400. Do you have any idea how to save records that got damaged during a flood? Well, you might be able to save the records themselves, but unfortunately the cardboard jackets that they came in might be damaged beyond repair. So if that's your case, I would recommend picking up some new blank album jackets from the website bagsunlimited.com. They've got a lot of great stuff there. I see some Chelsea Wolfe. I approve. Glad we both agree. How do I get the dust off the needle of my Audio-Technica LP60? The Onzo Zero Dust Stylus Cleaner. As I said, this little thing is awesome. I live in the middle of nowhere with one record shop close by. It's not great, there's not many good records. I can't drive, so how do I get good records? Your best bet is going to be online and then have them shipped over. My favorite 3 sites are the ones I mentioned earlier: Amazon, eBay, and Discogs. You're going to find a ton of great stuff there. Hi Jarrett, I have a question. Phono built-in turntable like the LP120 versus Phono built-in receiver like the Yamaha RN303. Which is better? I like the built-in preamp on my LP120 because the music sounds good to my ears, but other people don't care for it, and they choose to use a dedicated external preamp or a phono connection in their receiver, so it's really just a matter of personal preference. If you could choose between these 2 models of turntables, what would be the most appropriate for you? The Audio-Technica LP120X USB or the Audio-Technica LPW40WN? I would personally go with the LP120X USB because the overall build quality is better. Which type of record is easier to collect in your opinion? 33s, 45s, or 78s? I've found it to be 33s. I agree. 12-inch, 33 RPM albums are the easiest to collect because you're going to find them everywhere you go. Hey Jarrett New, I'm from Kenya. How can I get your t-shirt? And I'm looking for a Boney M Christmas album and it's so hard to get. Any tips? Hey, I'm glad you like the t-shirts. You can pick them up from the video description down below. I put a link there for them. Now, as far as the Christmas album, I would recommend checking out eBay and Discogs. I enjoy your videos, but wearing your hat backwards, it's hard to take you seriously. Peace and love. I'm sorry you feel that way. Are DJ turntables the same as regular turntables? And if they are, what makes them different? Most DJ turntables are direct drive, so the motor is going to be directly below the platter, and that makes it easier to scratch with. Also, these types of turntables will usually have a pitch control slider and the ability to play a record backwards. So for example, the LP120 or the new LP120X USB are good DJ turntables, but the Fluence RT85 is not, because it's meant for more casual listening. How many is too many records? And what is your ideal turntable setup for under $1,000 US? There's a fine line between collecting and hoarding. If you're having to step over records to get to other records and you're not keeping the walkways clear, I'd say you probably have too many records. So if that is your situation and you have a massive collection, do yourself a favor and get some IKEA Kallax shelves to keep everything organized, off the floor, and clutter-free. Now, ideal turntable setup would be the Project Debut Carbon at $400 and the Klipsch R15 PM speakers at $344. So total, that's $744 plus shipping plus tax. That should be under $1,000. What do you think of the new Audio-Technica LP120X? From what I've seen, I think it's a good improvement on the classic design, but I'd love to get my hands on one and test it out further. Can you play any musical instruments? Unfortunately, I can't, but sometimes when there's a piano nearby, I like to hold down the sustain pedal and only play the black keys. It sounds like I know what I'm doing. Is the bundle pack of the Project Primary and Klipsch R15 PM speakers the most solid setup for $500? Yes, that's a very good setup, and it's just a slight variation of the under $1,000 setup that I just mentioned. What would be the best bookshelf speakers to get? Do you have a preference? Like I've mentioned several times in this video, I am a huge Klipsch fan, so I like my RP150Ms. But if you're just getting started, the Fluence and the Micas are also a good choice. Can I make my own vinyl with music that I want to play? Yes, as we mentioned earlier, there's several companies like Meep Records, Vinylify, and American Vinyl Company which allow you to press your own music onto vinyl records. So I think that's really cool. Will you ever do another video about audio tapes? Definitely. I plan on making a lot more videos in the future about cassettes. I've recently got into vinyl due to this channel. Thank you. I recently got an LP60 and I love it. Thank you for the entry-level recommendation. My question is it worth upgrading to a $400+ player when I can afford it? What's the quality of sound difference? The LP60 and the LP60X are great turntables to start with, but if you want better build quality, upgrading to something in the $400 range is going to be a huge leap in sound quality. Usually the motors are more accurate, the cartridge is higher quality, the plinth is heavier, and the Tonearm might even be made out of carbon fiber. So all of those little factors mean that it's going to sound amazing. Question for the Q&A. Do you like the prog rock early stuff from Genesis? By the way, love your channel. Greetings from the Netherlands. Genesis is one of those bands that's kind of been under my radar, but I listened to a few of their songs and overall I like how their sound seems to just keep changing and evolving over the years. Their early stuff seems to be very creative and unconventional. How important is a preamp for your audio setup? Very important. Your setup won't work without one. Where do I find a turntable like yours? I will not continue to use my cheap one anymore. Very good decision. Your records will thank you. I got my LP120 from Amazon many years ago, and I just received this RT85 directly from Fluence, and I really like this one as well. Both of those turntables are excellent quality. I know you listen to Portishead, but do you ever listen to Massive Attack? I really like their songs Angel and Teardrop, but I definitely want to listen to more of them. Shopping for a good amp is almost as daunting as shopping for a new turntable. What stereo phono amps would you recommend on a light budget? I really like Yamaha receivers because they're classy, they're no nonsense, and they supply enough power to keep your record sounding great. So if you're looking for one with a phono connection, your best bet is going to be the RN303. What do you think of Taylor Swift? I don't I've got a belt-driven turntable and it's slightly out of tune. I can tell it's a bit too fast, and with some songs you can hear an obvious difference. Any advice on what I can do about this? I've got the AT-LP3. Sorry you're having that problem, dude. In general, if the motor is running either too slow or too fast, and your records are sounding all weird because the pitch is off, then you should probably just return that turntable and get a replacement. What's the heaviest band you listen to? Probably Bong Ripper. Their song Reefer Sutherland is very heavy, but it's killer. Is the frequency range, especially the quality from new pressed records, the same as from old ones? The frequency range and the overall sound quality of new records are really going to depend on the record mastering engineer, the record pressing plant, and the choices that both of them make. So for example, did they use compression? And if so, how much compression? How fast is the record going to spin? Did the pressing plant use brand new vinyl pellets or were they recycled? And most importantly, what is the original audio quality of the master recordings? All of those things matter and they're going to affect the sound. Do you have any recommendations for any electronic albums on vinyl, preferably colored vinyl? The album Taiga by Kubi is pretty good electronic music, and it comes on a beautiful green splatter vinyl. I am planning on getting an integrated receiver with the preamp built into it, along with the LP120. Do you recommend I use the receiver's preamp or the turntables? I would use the preamp from your receiver because it should give you a better sound, but you can also test them both out with a nice pair of headphones and pick which one sounds better to you. Hey mate, do you have any Kiwi, New Zealand music? Keep doing what you do, mate. I really like the indie band Phaser Days. The lead singer, Amelia Murray, is actually from New Zealand. And then I also have Lord's debut album, Pure Heroine, or Pure Heroine, on vinyl. Those are pretty much the two main New Zealand artists that I'm familiar with. Is there any record store you've always wanted to go to? I hear good things about Josie's Records in Dallas, so I'd like to check that one out sometime. Will you be talking about mini disc, 8 tracks, Super Audio CD, Philips DCC, Sony DAT, reel-to-reel, or any other short-lived formats in the future? Yeah, I'm definitely open to learning more about those really rare, obscure formats. I think they're really cool. Do you think Ion or Sony turntables are good, especially for a beginner? If you want to start playing records immediately, most of the Sony and Ion turntables are going to be okay because they're a step up from the Crosleys, but they're not quite as good as the other turntables like the Audio-Technica LP120, LP120X, Fluence RT81, and the U-Turn Orbit. Those four are going to cost a little more, but their sound and build quality are solid. What new vinyl releases are you most excited for? Tulle. That's pretty much the highlight of my entire year. Is there any way to recycle old vinyl records, the ones that are broken? Unfortunately, right now, there's no way to recycle broken vinyl records. But I guess you could turn it into a clock or something. Are older record players also okay? I mean like those installations from the 70s with the record player, cassette deck, and radio. I usually avoid the all-in-one type record players like I said a second ago, but if you have your heart set on a vintage one, make sure it's been refurbished, or at least everything works properly, and then you might only have to replace the stylus. Perhaps this is only an observation, but why do you prefer new vinyl over used or first pressings? Thanks. I think it's because I want the absolute cleanest sound possible with no scratches. There's just something kind of magical about getting a brand new record that's 180 gram, popping it on the turntable, and playing it for the first time ever. It's nice. How do you feel about Kenny G? A lot of people make fun of Kenny G because his music is kinda cheesy, kinda basic, not really saying much, not really deep, but he has sold a lot of albums and he's worth $50 million, so I'd say he's done a few things right. When listening to vinyl, do you have your dust cover on, down, up, or off, and why? And what is your view on how the dust cover can affect sound? Most of the time, I just remove it, but sometimes I do keep it on and just kind of lift it up so it can kind of be be out of the way, but I've found in general, it doesn't really affect the sound, so you can do whatever's easier for you. Would you ever consider trying to fix a vintage turntable? Since I'm not really a hands-on DIY fix-it-yourself kind of person, if I came across a nice vintage turntable that I really liked and it was really nice looking, but it had some issues, I'd rather just take it to a professional. And now that vinyl is becoming more mainstream, I think we are going to see a lot more record player repair shops in the future, so that'll be nice. Do you by chance own any hip-hop records? To be honest, I'm not really into hip-hop. There's a couple of genres that I just don't really explore, and that happens to be one of them. Now, I also don't listen to much country, screamo, or death metal, but no offense to you if you do. We all have our own tastes. Looking to upgrade my turntable's stock slip mat, would you recommend the cork mat after your experience with it? I have the same Audio-Technica LP120 as you, but in black. I would recommend the cork mat, and since you have the LP120, you might also want to go with the thicker 1/4 of an inch cork mat so that it'll lift your tone arm up and it'll be a little more level. Are you going to get a reel-to-reel player if you find one? Yeah, if I can find a good one like a Pioneer RT909 and it's a good price, I wouldn't mind picking it up. Would you rather buy an old record over a new one for the nostalgia and the feeling you get from it, or go for a new pressing for more flawless sound quality? By the way, thank you so much for your videos. You were one of the reasons I got my dad's old Technic setup out of the basement and listened to vinyl almost every day. Greetings from Germany. Hey, greetings from Arizona. Thank you so much for watching. So when I first got started, I didn't mind picking up older used records because of that nostalgia factor, but over the years, I realized that repressings of a classic album from a really good label, like Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, can also sound really great with fewer scratches. Do you have any Weezer albums on vinyl? Nah, not yet unfortunately, but I want to. That's a great band. Do you have any Kiss or Michael Jackson records? Love your channel, by the way, entertaining and very helpful. Currently, I have Michael Jackson's Thriller and ABC by the Jackson 5, but I'd like to pick up more, and as far as Kiss, I don't have any of their records yet. When are you going to pick up some good floor-standing speakers? Like, I know your speakers are good, but you better be lucky and find some Cymex or Sony speakers out there. I'd love to get some nice floor-standing speakers, but they wouldn't fit on this dresser, so I'd probably have to put them in another room, build a whole setup, and it's going to be a whole thing. So for now, I'm happy with these. My dad and I collect original vinyl records and love listening to them. Would an Audio-Technica LP120 and your desk speakers be fine? Or are there any other components I need to buy? Love your videos, my dad does too. Thank you for everything. If you get an LP120 and those Klipsch R15PM active speakers with the amplifier built inside, that setup alone, those two things are going to be all you need to start playing awesome records. My question is, how are you enjoying that Ortofon black cartridge? Do you like it more than the red? I have a bronze on my Technics and I love it. I love the Ortofon 2M black. Big shout out to Rod Rogers for sending it over. Thank you so much, dude. So yeah, it's a great cartridge, but in my opinion, all of the 2M series from Ortofon are awesome. From the red to the blue to the black. I haven't experienced the bronze yet, but maybe one day. All of them are very high quality and they all sound amazing. What was, in your opinion, the best era for vinyl? Like I mentioned earlier, I would say the 70s, the 80s, and right now actually, because they're coming back and it's a beautiful thing. What's your opinion on automatic turntables? It seems most companies right now are only making manual turntables, which are totally fine, but since vinyl is becoming more and more popular, I think we are going to see a brand new automatic turntable pretty soon. That'd be really cool because that way you won't accidentally fall asleep with your record spinning all night and that stylus just wearing down. That would not be good. Hi, I'm from Puebla, Mexico. Your videos help me a lot. My question is it very important to use inner sleeves? What's your recommendation? Yes, it's very important that you use soft inner sleeves so that your records won't get all scratched up. The best ones on the market, hands down, are the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab master sleeves. Those are awesome. Who, if any artists, have you come across accidentally and become to love? Several months ago, I was sent 2 records by the band Beacon, and I really love their music. They have a great, dreamy, electronic, clean, modern sound that I really like. Dear Jarrett, could you please clear it up? Is it bad for a needle if I play an old dusty record on a new turntable? I mean a 33 RPM record, not a 78 RPM one. Yes, you really need to make sure you clean all your records before you play them on your turntable. If you don't, the stylus of your turntable is going to wear down much faster. So you can either clean your records by hand like I do, or if you're really fancy, get yourself a record cleaning machine. Favorite Beatles album? By the way, love your channel. Probably Sgt. Pepper's, and my favorite track on the album is Within You, Without You. Such a cool song. Say you have two copies of the same album. One's on black vinyl, the other on colored vinyl. Which copy will end up being more valuable when it gets somewhat uncommon? You know, if it's in good condition, I would say the colored record would be worth more because, let's just be honest, colored vinyl looks really cool. So a lot of people would be wanting that copy and it's going to be more valuable. What do you use to display your records? I use simple hook screws, and actually I have a video about how you can build your own record wall right up here. Which album or albums would you like to see on vinyl which were never released on vinyl before? Probably anything by Kem. Most of his albums have only been released on either CD or MP3, so it would be really nice if you got a vinyl pressing. Listening suggestion: Rodrigo y Gabriela, Echoes. Such a cool song, I love it. Thank you for recommending it. What are 5 of your prized vinyl records? And can you wait for Tulle's new album? Dude, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. And as far as my top 5 prized records go, I would say my Silent Hill soundtrack by Mondo, Carl Sagan, A Glorious Dawn on gold vinyl, The Parlor Trick, A Blessed Unrest on black and gold vinyl, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue from Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, and Sade Love Deluxe because it was my very first record. Out of all your records, which one have you played the most? Probably Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. I really love that one. Are you going to buy more records by Jimi Hendrix and The Doors? Definitely. I don't have anything from The Doors, and that really needs to change. Do you have any hobby other than vinyl? Finding new music and record collecting is kind of my main thing, but I also really like organic tea, like yerba mate from Argentina, matcha from Japan, rooibos from South Africa, and silver needle white tea from China. I like just kind of loading up on antioxidants. Who's better? Green Day or Red Hot Chili Peppers? Ooh, this is kind of a loaded question, but in general, I find myself listening more to Red Hot Chili Peppers. But no offense to you if you're into Green Day. That's cool too. What's your favorite Tulle album? Lateralis. Have you ever played Frisbee with a record? Only once. Remember that weird record I had that had grooves but was completely silent? I tossed that one around a little bit, but I would not recommend that with any normal record. Alright, now hopefully that clears up a few things, and since I really liked making this video, I want to do more of these in the future, so stay tuned on the channel for that. Also, if you still have other questions that I didn't answer in this video, like I said, book me on Cameo and I will definitely answer them. And if you love vinyl records and want to learn even more, hit the red subscribe button right here so you won't miss out on the new videos. And most importantly of all, friends, have an awesome day and keep spinning that vinyl.